everybody. Welcome back to our place. We are excited to be continuing our parenting series today by talking to Lindsay Hooton. Lindsay has a 13-year-old son with autism and then an 11-year-old daughter, right? Is that what
Mhm.
you said? 11-year-old daughter. And she started the chapter of We Are Brave Together here in Georgia. I will let her tell you a little bit more about We Are Brave Together. But if you are looking for a support group, and you live anywhere in the country, this is going to be the organization for you. If you don't have one near you, Lindsay's also going to tell you about how you can start one up. So thank you so much for joining us, Lindsay.
Thanks for having me. So I will start by telling you a little bit about We Are Brave Together. So We Are Brave Together was started by Jessica Pate in California in 2017. She has a son with Prader-Willi syndrome. It's a pretty rare diagnosis. So it's rooted in California. And basically, her mission is to provide support and resources to mamas of special needs kiddos. Um, she has a heart for moms that feel alone, that feel lost, due to the fact that they have a special needs child.
Yeah.
What she's done with this nonprofit is amazing. And I just stumbled, upon her on Google. My son got diagnosed only a little over 2 years ago, which for autism is a little different. Our journey
Yeah.
was a little different. It took a long time to get answers because he didn't present as typical, kind of went to the pediatrician and, oh, he's got eye contact. He likes to hug, he's hyper verbal. And so he slipped through a lot of cracks.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I mean, throughout the whole journey, I felt like I was alone because I didn't have answers. And I knew that my son was hurting and it was really difficult. So that in itself, I started off alone. And then fast forward to getting the diagnosis, that just compounded everything because I was like, okay, I'm relieved that I have, this new information, but what do I do with it? And like, where are my people at?
Yeah.
You know, and it was awful. I mean, I'll be 100% honest that I spent like the first 3 months after getting his diagnosis, like honestly having a really hard time even getting out of bed
Yeah.
because I didn't know what to do with the information. And I mean, I have experience as a pediatric nurse. I'm went to college, I know where to look for the resources, but that's not really what I was looking for at that point. I was looking for people that just could share in my journey because I didn't even know where to start.
And so
And
how did you go from having that feeling, having a hard time getting out of bed to going, I need to try to find something. How
right,
did you get there? And then how did you start your journey of even trying to find something?
right. So what's kind of ironic about that is so the day that Jackson got diagnosed, um, my husband, he's just sweet and patient soul. But the day he got diagnosed, we came home and I was like, I want to help every mom out there. I want to, help the world and find these moms because like I felt so like I was like validated, right? Like I had, I always knew, that was the answer and then got the answer and then, I just had all of this energy, right? And my husband, he's like, Lindsay, you're not helping anybody. I love you, but you're not doing anything until you like can help yourself first.
Yeah, good
And at
advice.
first, yeah, no, good advice, but like I'm very, I have a lot of willpower, and I was like, no, I can do this. Like I can do two things at the same time. I can grieve this devastating news and help all the moms. And
Yeah.
within like 5 minutes, I was like, you're right. And then that's like when the grief really kicked in. And so, yeah, so I mean, it came from a place of feeling like just of isolation and feeling like no one understood what we were going through. I will say also that in our specific case with Jackson and the way he presents with autism and PDA is that, and it sounds almost unbelievable, but he would not show signs or any characteristics of autism to anybody except us in our home.
Wow.
So he has been at the same school since kindergarten. He's in eighth grade right now. And not a single teacher or staff member ever echoed what we would say like during like parent teacher conferences.
Wow.
Yeah. Because he would be, he would fall apart at home. I mean, he would explode and that could look like um physical violence, physical aggression, verbal aggression towards family members, but only in our home. And so that, and again, that compounded it too, right? Because we would tell, family and friends about what was going on, and we were met with just, well, we don't see it. And that's not their fault, but it's also not helpful, right?
Yeah.
And so I needed to find my people. Um, and so yeah, I let myself grieve. And I do believe that that is essential to the process of like receiving the diagnosis and working through it.
Yep.
I really think that it's important for moms to give themselves that space and that time. Because if you kind of miss the boat on that, it's always just going to be there haunting you. And it still is. It's still, I mean, every day I grieve. Every day I grieve the loss of what I thought, you know, our family would look like.
Yep.
Um, to the point, and this is a really raw, uh, you know, thing to share, but I like couldn't even put pictures up of my son in the house because I felt like I was looking at a child who had like passed away.
Yeah.
Um, so these were some like deep, heavy feelings. And so, well, kind of went through that process, allowed myself to grieve. Heeded my husband's advice of not trying to save the world and give myself that space and time. And then, kind of came to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready now. Like I can think a little clearly now. Where can I find support? Where can I find help? So just like pulled up my laptop and just, Googled probably the most ridiculous things like, I'm so alone, I am isolated. Where am
The Google rabbit hole is what I
I?
call it.
Right. Yeah, send me to like dating websites. I was like, no, not that kind of lonely. And so We Are Brave Together was one of the first things that popped up. I could not find anything local.
Okay,
Any
what did you Google? Do you remember?
Yeah, like I Googled like um mom of special needs kids, like needs help, needs support.
Okay.
Like, yeah. And what's funny is like when I talked to Jessica, the founder, about, I was like, well, what kind of keywords do you have in your SEO and da. And she was like, I don't know anything about that. So, I mean, I guess she's had enough clicks where like she's just risen on her own.
That's great. That's good.
Um, but it says a lot about the lack of support
Oh yeah.
that me as a mom, in Georgia had to find a group in California to find moms like me.
Okay, so I want to talk about that for a second
Yeah.
because One thing that we always get told as our organization is resources are different state by state. It's not
Sure.
possible to help families all over the country. And we always say the government system is different state by state, but your experience as a parent and as a sibling is no different from somebody that lives in North Dakota.
Right.
And so, when you saw that they were in California, what made you like even think that's possible for me to kind of connect with that organization and stuff? Because I feel like a lot of people at first would go, they're not here.
Right.
So, one
Right.
option.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, for anyone who like hovered over that, link and was like, oh, California, yeah, click, scroll through, do all the things. So, I mean, it was pretty obvious, I think, just on their like main landing page, right? Um, that it was not just California. Like there was like, a tab for like support groups that was like very visible, and I clicked on it and really quickly realized like, oh my gosh, these are all over the place.
Yeah.
But you're right though. I mean, someone could just see that and then see that they're in California and then move on, right?
So did you start by joining, because they offer virtual sessions and in-person support groups. So
Right.
did you start by doing the virtual ones?
Yeah, I did. I did virtual ones. So you could, live anywhere, not only in the US, but anywhere in the world, and find a support group that's virtual. And so that's what I did for a while. But just with me and how I like my love language and like how I like to connect with people, it's not quite like the Drew Barrymore, like in your face on your lap, but it's somewhere like in between,
Yeah.
right? So I would never do that to you. But I need to see you. I need to hug you. I need to share this space with you. Um, and that was just for me, right? I mean, they were helpful. Of course they were helpful.
Yeah.
But so what, and it's important also to note that the reason why I was having to do virtual was because there was nothing in the state of Georgia, like not even like a state over, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so I contacted Jessica, and at that point, right, a year later or whatever it was from my husband telling me to wait, I knew in my heart, like it's time. Like I'm in a place where I have like the mental capacity to help people,
Yeah.
And so I contacted Jessica and just explained to her, I would love to start a support group and there's none in Georgia. And it just kind of, um, it just kind of happened, and it was seamless, and it was just an easy process. And, there's an interview and, obviously a conversation, conversations you're going to have with Jessica and things like that. But it's like there's no experience required, right? Like we're all just moms, and
Okay,
we're
what about
all
a cost? Is there a cost associated?
to being a leader.
Yeah.
Oh no, 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 no.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's also important because some people might go, I have to pay for it.
Right, right. Exactly. And especially I feel like in our world of like multi-level marketing and all that, it's like, okay, well, what's the catch, or
Yeah.
what do I have to do,
Yeah.
and all of that. But no, I mean, so We Are Brave Together is a nonprofit, and I'm a volunteer. She has a few staff members. I mean, she has to have help to build this and sustain this amazing organization. But no, no, not at all. Um, and then there's no cost to being a member. There's never a cost. Like we will never, ask for dues or for money, or, I mean, we encourage fundraising
Yeah.
because we want to be able to have We Are Brave together forever and forever and
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just like any
And
other
then,
organization.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then she does offer retreats that I've been to two, and they're amazing. And they're really small, they're really intimate, like between 10 and 15 moms in a house, um, just disconnecting as much as we can and coming together to just be together and allow ourselves this sacred space to connect. And that has a fee to it, but it's, I mean, for what it is, it's so affordable.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
but
for the actual for the support group for the chapters, talk about like how often do you guys meet?
Mhm.
Is it different per chapter? How does that all work?
Right. So Jessica kind of, I have a lot of autonomy in terms of, there's like some basic, requirements and what they would like to see done, but we're also all moms of special needs kids, and we all understand, right, that the intention can be there that, I but then life happens. I mean,
Right.
that goes for anybody, right?
Yeah.
But especially I think in our specific like community, um, the intentions can be good and can be there, and then it might not work out the way you think it's going to work out. But so for my group specifically, we meet once a month, which that doesn't even feel like enough, right?
Yeah.
And so, some groups might meet like every couple months. And then we also, my group personally, like we throw in a couple virtual meetings because my connection circle, that's what they call them, is the only one in the state of Georgia. And so when I'm going to find these moms, like on Facebook or whatever, I mean, I'm reaching out to like, the Georgia group for special needs moms, and they live all over Georgia. Obviously, they
Right.
can't come to my house. But that gives those moms an opportunity to plug in, if they can't physically make it. Which is why like we need more groups and we need to grow in Georgia. Um, because I mean, the amount of moms I've had, reach out like, I wish you were closer, or, you know, um, there are so many moms out there to be served. Um,
And I
and
think that's I wanna to give you like time and stuff to talk about. Like it's not one chapter per state.
oh
Like
no.
yeah, and you
Mm-mm.
can have so if you're in Georgia or if you're in a state that has a chapter, don't feel like that limits you from not starting one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so so out in California, I mean, I haven't counted them, but I mean, there are tons,
Yeah.
which makes sense because that's where they're out of. But no, I mean, her goal is definitely, like she at one point was like, I noticed she signs off her emails like until every mother knows that she's not alone. And I just love that sentiment. But she means it. Like this woman is on a mission and she will not stop until she finds these moms. And then that's the beauty, right, of like all of the connection leaders or circle leaders throughout the country, right? Is like we all feel that in our hearts, right? Like that desire to just like I'm not going to stop,
Yeah.
for my local moms and things like that. But there's only like one of me. I do have a co-leader and she's awesome, but I mean it's two of us, for the state of Georgia.
And how many are in
Um,
this support group in Georgia?
so that's the tricky part is that again, like because of life circumstances, the intention to come to a meeting
Yeah.
is there and then something comes up. So I would say, at any given meeting, we don't have any more than 20. Sometimes, like, I think 10 to 12 is our sweet spot. Um, but honestly, that's 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 kind of where I think like Jessica, like she also really much very much believes in keeping things small and intimate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's hard to connect if you have like a room of like 40 people. And so that was actually like a learning lesson for me because I, would want, a house full of people, but then I realized like that's not going to help anybody, right? And so yeah, I mean it's a really small intimate group and it can change from month to month. Every month we get new moms. Some are moms that have been there to every meeting. It just changes. And then we just opened a Facebook group like locally for our group so that we can chat in between and that, people can stay up to date with our meeting times through that. And then also I highly recommend signing up for the We Are Brave Together newsletter, like from the main page,
Yep.
because that's how they would get our information. Uh,
And it's not for life stage. It's any
Right.
any age of your child.
Yeah, it's for caregivers of special needs children, adult children, like there's no age cutoff. And in terms of like the diagnoses, it's it's inclusive of everything and
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's a really beautiful thing because we all are sharing like this, common like heart hurt, right? And it's for lots of different reasons. And it just being in a room with people that can say like me too is huge.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I have best friends, I have really close family members, and we can share what's going on with our family, and it is met with love and it's met with support. But there is something to be said about like sitting in a room with people that are actually like living this with you.
Yeah.
Um, and that is such like a sacred connection. And for me personally, like vital to being able to, I mean, just get up in the morning, I'll be quite honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell everyone how they would go about getting connected to a support group, and like seeing if there's one in their area or maybe trying it out by starting or trying one of the virtual ones.
Yeah. So if you go to We Are Brave Together, I think it's .org. Um,
Yes, it is .org. I'm looking at it.
okay. Thanks. So I was like, I should know this. Um, then if you go to their main page, I would just like suggest that you explore a little bit,
Yep.
right? And then um, learn about the mission. You can read about Jessica and like why she founded it. And then I believe at like the top of the website, there's a like gatherings tab. And from there, there's different options. You can confirm that for me if you have like
Yes,
a
I'm looking
double.
at it on my other screen.
Yeah.
Yes. Gatherings tab with all
Yep.
the options.
All the, there you go.
It's
Yeah,
very easy to navigate, which is
right,
great because a lot
right.
of
It
these
is.
websites are not.
It is. It is. And so, you can click on the virtual option or the in-person option. And so like, if you today are like, oh my gosh, this is for me, this is what I've been looking for, then like don't wait until there's one in your city or whatever. Like I highly suggest starting with like a virtual group. And then that might lead you to like to finding your local group or even wanting to start one if there isn't one, which is kind of, like my story and what happened with me.
Yeah.
Um, and to start a group, I mean, the beautiful thing about our organization is that you know, we are international. And you would think that our numbers are like through the roof, right? But we have 3,000 members. And, so you're not like a needle in a haystack. It's not like that kind of a situation where you
Yeah.
feel, like, oh, I mean, it is very possible, and we are brave together to make like really awesome connections with people that you'll see over and over and over again, which is what I
Yeah.
love about it. And so, I mean, honestly, just an email to Jessica and starting the conversation and just kind of laying your heart out there and just saying, where you live, that there, is one, or maybe is one that, but there it's too far away and you like to start one in your city, or, and she's so easy to talk to. She's awesome. And it's a pretty easy process. And in terms of being a leader, um, there is work involved in terms of like finding these moms, right? But they're out there, they'll find you, and it just kind of happens organically,
Yeah.
It's just I feel like, yeah. I mean, it's just if you want if you want to lead a group and it's in your heart, it can happen. It'll happen, and it does take a while, I will say, to have steady numbers and things like that, and that can be like disheartening, right? Um, but it does happen over time, and then before you know it, you have a group where like they feel like family. Um, so it doesn't, it doesn't take an expert to be one. Just a
Yeah.
mom shares in the experience.
I always say our motto, if you're a parent or a caregiver, you are the expert because you're living it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I think, I'm a little biased, but yeah, I agree. I agree. And so yeah, I mean, it's just a beautiful organization and has been such just like an answered prayer for me personally. And I really don't know like what life would be like without it.
Yeah.
It's been life changing, life giving for me.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing your story and your experience. Hopefully, we're going to be hearing more from you about your experiences, especially as We Are Brave Together grows. If you are interested in learning more, we'll put some information up on our website. You can also go to wearebravetogether.org. And again, thank you so much. And hopefully, this encourages a lot of moms to either start a chapter or maybe pop into one of yours or the other virtual ones.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. And honestly, I mean, I'm an open book. If you want to shoot me an email, I mean, I don't, wherever you live, wherever this lands with you, I'm happy to talk more.
Awesome. We will see you guys next time.